Hey y'all, welcome. My name is Sarah and I just love to talk about movies. Today I want to talk about a hidden gem. Hidden in the sense that it came out with a bunch of other movies that looked kind of similar, like they're from a similar time period. It came out around the same time as See How They Run and Babylon. To me, seemed like it got buried underneath all of that. Amsterdam. And begins with Burt Berendsen, who is a doctor in New York City at the time, being asked by his closest friend, Harold, who is a lawyer, for a favor. The favor involves performing the autopsy of a military leader, Colonel Meekins, who put together their battalion during the war and for whom they both have a great deal of respect, at the request of his granddaughter. That request would set a series of events in motion that would involve Harold, Burt, and a close friend of theirs, Valerie, to reunite and follow these events and try to find out more about the circumstances of the man's death and his life prior to that. And what they learn will change their lives forever. The autopsy will lead to Burt and Harold being accused of murder, which will lead them to their friend Valerie, which will lead them to General Gil Dillenbeck, which will lead them to a gala for the veterans that they have every year where Dillenbeck will speak, where a conspiracy plot was revealed. Members of various intelligence agencies will get involved. There's an attempted murder, and Harold, Burt, and Valerie part ways. This is the best I can do because there are so many events in the story and I don't want to give away too much. I loved it. I'll give Amsterdam a 4 out of 5, absolutely. The cinematography is somehow beautiful, even during these really terrible moments where characters are in so much pain or discomfort. Near the beginning, where you see Harold and Burt, who have their, I guess, the most severe injuries, they're screaming and in pain, but you still are hearing this gentle classical music, and there's no sound outside of that music. The actions taken by the character and things that they say feels very natural for that character in that time period, and a lot of what you saw was really surprising. There isn't a single character that doesn't surprise you with like an unexpected value or a personality quirk or something you learn about their background. Genuinely interesting people. Like the difference between Beatrice, Bert's wife, and Irma St. Clair. They both have bold, direct personalities, but very different values. Like they both are soft-spoken in their own ways, but they are not to be messed with in the same way. It's so interesting. And Michael Shannon, Mike Myers, the characters that they play, both in the intelligence agencies, but with similar values, but very different personalities. Because the cast is very large and the movie is quite long, but the variety of events and twists in the story were totally unpredictable for me. And you did find out what the relevance of all of them were. You found out why this person went here or what happened with that person. Everything comes together quite neatly. Everybody kind of has a moment to shine. The policeman who comes to see Burt and Harold and his coworker, that whole interaction was so surprising and it's kind of like awkward. And there are a lot of moments like that throughout the entire movie, but were also engaging and interesting. Plus, I love the artistic way, the creative way a lot of the scenes were shot. It really emphasized this idea that anything is possible. Post-World War I, the America is in recovery. There's an entire population of veterans that are out there that are looking for support and they're not getting it. And people like Burt Berendsen and Harold are out there creating spaces for them to come together and celebrate and talk and voice their opinions, and that seems entirely plausible. So many events are like, sure, even though there are a lot of them happening like back to back to back, nothing is so extraordinary that would throw you out of the story. There are a couple characters where if we wanted to trim down, we could do without and still tell the same story. Liz Meekins' character, played by Taylor Swift, and Libby Vose, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, both them characters could go. I see why they're there, and it's like, even though they come from a similar background and even though they have similar access, they have very different values. So I see why both are included in the film and in the cast of characters. But also, even if I'm just listening to the film, because I do that a lot. I love soundtracks and I love listening to certain movies, and Amsterdam is one of those easy listening types of films. I thought it was so interesting that we got to hear Burt's like inner monologue throughout the entire film, and I appreciated how the story ended, that it ended the only way that it could, and that the series of events that brought them all together were so random and strange that this could be the very last time they see each other in person, or the possibility is out there that they may all meet up again for some crazy adventure. Either way, I highly recommend it. There is some violence, but it's not like gratuitous violence where you got blood splash and gore and all of that, but there is some violence, just so you guys are aware. And it was interesting to learn that the later events in the film were based on a true story, based on things that actually happened. But you guys let me know what you think. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.